All right, guys, I'm Tatiana,
And I'm Jai.
and this is our second episode of Pretty
Pretty
Girls
girls
Don't
don't speak.
Speak.
Like, ugh.
And I just want to start off by saying that me and Jai just are so grateful and so blessed to even be here again with
Yeah.
you guys. And we have a great topic today.
Yes. And that topic is setting boundaries. Knowing how to set boundaries, knowing
When, how, why, all the
where.
reasons, where, with who.
And honestly, setting boundaries is actually a movement. It's actually something that you create just moving through the reality. I just feel like when you set boundaries, it creates that space, that loving space for yourself. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think that's a good way to put it. I think when you set boundaries, you allow yourself to not just be in your power, but to determine what kind of life you're actually going to live. If you keep letting people tell you how you're going to live and dictate your decisions for you, and you're kind of just there letting it happen, you have no control. You have no say in what happens to you, and you could be putting yourself in bad, messy situations that you don't even want to be in to begin with.
Straight up. It's just like I found myself setting boundaries along on my journey. I still have an inner battle with setting boundaries. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm really nurturing. I'm highly energetic. I'm really nice. I have a lot of feminine energy that, I just love to nurture. And when it comes to, I'm just going to say the workplace. When it comes to, I'm just going to say,
If
when
you
it
don't
comes,
understand what we mean by the workplace, then I don't know what to tell you.
I'm talking about the battlefield, like,
Yeah.
that professional field when you have to go out and collaborate with others and do activities with others, your boundaries can feel violated. And when our boundaries feel violated, which our sacred space feels violated, it kind of, it just disrupts you. It
Yeah.
overwhelms you. It fills you with
Yeah.
anxiety.
It can make you feel dirty.
And it makes you feel like a people pleaser.
Yeah. And really, if you don't set a boundary, you are a people pleaser. Like, there's no other way to say it. I used to work at a grocery store for 4 years when I was younger. And it was a job filled with people from all walks of life, all different ages, young to old. And there were so many. I could have gotten thousands of dollars if I would have sued for sexual harassment. Let me tell you, thousands of dollars. And I never, ever, ever did. And my version of putting my foot down was always laughing it off. Oh my God, you're so stupid. You're so dumb. Then walking away. But that's not a boundary. Then they think that they're comfortable to keep treating you that way, keep talking to you that way. And until you actually are firm and you look somebody in the eye and say, please do not talk to me that way. When you talk to me that way, it makes me uncomfortable. But the reason why I think a lot of people are uncomfortable, or even just a lot of women too, is the fear. We were talking about that.
Yes.
So what do you think about like the fear in setting boundaries?
It's scary. It's scary to set boundaries because you don't want to offend anybody, and I think that's what a lot of us do is we just don't want to deal with the BS. Like, we don't want to deal with confrontation.
Drama.
We don't want to deal with the drama. We don't want to deal with that other person's reaction. So I think we steer away in fear of hurting someone else or knowing how they feel, or I don't want them to feel this way because it's not going to benefit me no more.
Yeah.
And with a world filled with so much patriarchy.
Yeah.
And
it's a man's world.
It's a man's world. Let's just be for real.
It's a man's world. And if you say it's not, then you're blind and you're part of the problem. I think that a lot of our fear comes from, the fear of being murdered, the fear of all the women that have put their foot down, said no, and gotten smacked in the face, or have gotten literally murdered because they tell somebody, I'm not interested in you. I don't want to date you. And that rejection that stems from that it bruises their ego.
And when a male's ego is bruised, there could be anger, rage, and a lot of repercussion that, will just hinder your existence by either getting your hands put on or whatever. And that's why we just came with Pretty Girls Don't Speak, because a lot of us, we're so valuable and worthy on the inside and on the outside. And just saying no is so hard, but yet so powerful for us to continue on in our journey. So I had an issue with a guy in the workplace, and me being nice and nurturing and just want to assist, he actually was all like, "All right, yeah, she's nice," and but then he texts me and like, "Hey, I really like you," but he didn't say like, "I like you."
Ew.
He's all like, "I know, you know how I am." Like, I don't know what it is with a male's perception, but, and I'm not just, I don't know what it is, but it's like when you give them your feminine force or your nurturing energy and your positive energy, in their mind, they're with you for some reason. They're like, "Oh, Jai's gonna come around. Oh, let me go take you out." And, "Oh, I know, you know how I am," and ha ha ha. And then all of a sudden you really know them, but you just don't even know them. But in their mind, they think they know you, and you don't know them like that. And I found it hard to set boundaries because I am so nurturing, and I am just a little, and I just go home and sometimes I just wish, be like, "Man, I wish I didn't say that," or, "Man, I wish I didn't, say the things that I said. Man, I wish I didn't send that emoji like that. And man, I wish I didn't feel bad about what this person feels." And it could be hard to set boundaries in such a fear-based world.
I want to go backwards a little bit, but I want to come back to this point where you said like, "Oh, I wish I didn't send that emoji. I wish I didn't do all this stuff." But I want to go back to what you said about like, you can be nice to these men. And obviously when we're discussing all men, we're not talking about all men. Yeah. We're just talking about
disclaimer there.
A vast majority of men, but not all of them. We get it. However, I was just speaking to one of my clients recently, and I do lash extensions. I speak with women on a daily basis. And I hear their stories, and this one girl, had an incident with her family member being inappropriate with them, with the family. And, we were discussing it, and without putting anybody's business out there, we kind of were like, I don't think this person, the man, knows how to differentiate family love from relationship type love. Whether that's because this person doesn't have any siblings, whether it's because this person just had very much a lot of trauma happen to them when they were younger as well, still is not an excuse, but it would be an explanation as to why this person confuses, someone being nice to them with, "Oh, now I want a intimate relationship with that person," which I think is really, really interesting in a sad way. But I think like if somebody is, inappropriate with somebody that they should be protecting, you, as a person, you have to set that boundary with that person. Absolutely. Otherwise it's going to keep happening. And that's what happened, is everything got swept under the rug. "Oh, this person needs help, blah, blah, blah." And it keeps happening to different people. And now at this point, it's like, how do you recover from that? Right. But if you would have been setting boundaries from the beginning, obviously it's a whole list of things, but just that alone, saying, "Hey, this is not cool, you do not do this," can save millions of other people from being affected from the same injustices.
I agree. And, so how would we set boundaries? How would we protect our energy? How would we stand in our womanhood and actually stand firm in what we believe and just protect ourselves from toxic forces that try to attach to our energy, or, just skews the perception on what love truly is, or what caring truly is and nurturing is?
Yeah, I believe that number one is you need to know exactly what it is you want. Just like in the last episode, we were discussing like knowing your vision.
Yes.
Before you set a boundary, it's important to know, what do you want the outcome to be? If you want the outcome to be, this person completely stops messing with me, this person completely stops being inappropriate with me, completely stops disrespecting me, you need to be firm. And we all, like how you said, so now we're going back, you said, "Why did I send that emoji?" And I won't talk about when or where or whatever, but one time I worked with this person who, was inappropriate with me. And I was typing a message and I put a sad face as I'm like typing and retyping the message because I'm like, what do I say to this person? Like, I didn't mean for this to happen. I wasn't flirting in that sense. Like, I wasn't leading this person on. Why is this person coming at me? And I'm texting like a sad face. And I deleted that because I was like, I'm not sad about this. If you're sad about it, put a sad face.
They're sad about it.
Yeah. If you want to set a boundary and then you find yourself actually like let's say you are being a little bit messy and you did want this person's reaction to be that way. And then you're like, you know what, actually, this has gone too far. I don't want it. Send your sad face. But if you're actually like, I was repulsed. I was like, no. I don't want this. I'm not going to send a sad face. I'm going to send a period because that's my point. Like, that's it. I want to say the words, say the person's name, period. Address the person. Be like, hey, this is what I want. I don't want you talking to me like this, period. Send the message. And however that person responds, however they take it, that's on them. It's easier, I would say, through text than it is in person because in person, you don't know how that person will react.
Yes. And we don't know if they're going to react violently.
We don't know if they're going to murder you. Like, I wouldn't recommend it.
See, and that's how we have to, like, come to find out, like, how to express ourselves eloquently enough to be aware. And, us as women, we always give that nurturing energy and we just, it's hard to find our boundaries. And, you don't want to end up being your boyfriend or your male friend, being someone's mama.
Oh my God.
That's the thing. I think most of these men out here are actually looking for a mother.
Yeah, they are.
That mothering. So mothering, nurturing energy is totally different than the nurturing energy that you put into a partnership, I would have to say. And a lot of males or a lot of relationships are actually looking for that nurture, that mother. And so we just kind of extend our energy too much because we're mothering people, I feel like.
I've been there. I dated somebody who I felt like couldn't do anything, which wasn't right on me to feel that way. But however, if you're basically doing everything for this person, teaching this person, you're somebody's mom, and it's different from like, oh, I'm doing this for you because I care for you. I'm doing this for you because I'm looking out for you because I got your back versus it's expected of me, or guys will always try and say, I want to be with somebody who will be a great mom one day. Okay. Like that's interesting, but you should also want to be with somebody because you value them.
Yes.
You should want to be with somebody because you like hanging out with them.
Right.
And you think that not just that they'd be a good mother, that they'd be somebody you want to do life with.
Absolutely.
So I think that, did you hear about some guy on the Chiefs made a speech and basically he was speaking to this college. Yeah. And he was speaking to this college and he said, like, but you know what, women, don't forget that the most important thing you'll ever be in your life is a wife and a mom. And basically telling men, don't let this feminine stuff get to you. And in front of a college, so basically saying your whole degree is for nothing. Like, then the most important thing you'll ever be is like a wife and a mom and a masculine man. And I just think that these toxic ways of believing is just a big part in why we have to be strong in putting these boundaries. Because there are going to be people that think that way and people that agree with people that think that way. And this podcast is so important because Pretty Girls Don't Speak. That's what they want. They want a pretty girl that's just going to sit there and not speak and not speak her mind and not set these boundaries and not be firm in her beliefs.
Yes. And it's like when you do speak up, they feel competition. The males that we're in relationship with, they always feel as if, they're in competition with us. If you go one up or you saying like, you know what, babe, I want to do this. I want to do this. And then they start seeing you one up and they start getting angry. And then, they start through their fear-based mentality of you one-upping them, they pull you back down into that fear-based with them. Like it's fear-mongering, and it's just them siphoning the energy and the life force out of you. And when it comes to setting boundaries, I think that's something that we really, truly need to hone on. And I think one way that we can actually set a boundary is getting out in nature. and balancing yourself and knowing yourself enough more to actually know your true value, know what you want, find your voice, start writing. I can't say as much, start singing. These type of activities will actually help you exercise pulling your voice out.
Yeah.
Standing up for yourself. And I know it can be scary, because it's fearful. But I will say, let love guide you and not fear. And the love for yourself first. Because if you truly love yourself, you don't want to go through the BS. You don't want to go through all of that. You don't want to feel that way. So,
and I think not even men either. Like with family, you can set boundaries. With family, especially, maybe you guys need more help setting boundaries with your family, because those are people that my mom will raise me and then be like, you're always my business. What you do, I'll tell her, I'm like, Mom, that's none of your business. Like, this is my business.
Yeah.
It's always my business because I gave birth to you and you're my baby. And then there's that possession, there's that ownership. And I guess she's looking out for me. I get it. I love my mom. However, there's that boundary that needs to be in place. I respect you. I love you. I'm willing to let you in this much in my life. However, everything I do is not all of your business. You cannot stalk my location. You cannot read my text messages. You don't need to know who I'm talking to at all hours of the day,
And that comes with, just an obsession. And I think what we truly need to do is just balance and honestly set boundaries with ourselves. We need to learn how to set the boundaries with ourselves first so that other people can actually feel it. And I have a quote, if you love yourself enough, when you come truly into a love union with yourself, the boundaries set themselves because you're able to stand firm in your truth. Like, nope, this is me.
Yeah.
And my boundaries are set within me. So it's easier to speak on what boundaries you have for yourself when they're set firmly within you first. You have to love and know your value enough to actually set boundaries with yourself and just coming to the knowing like, okay, this is my truth. And anybody who's in my vicinity who's not respecting my truth or respecting my voice, that boundary it's being breached. So then you speak up and say, hey, you know what? No. And a lot of people use a lot of words because I believe that, your words create worlds.
Yeah.
And a lot of people use words like I told this lady right before I came here today. I was all like, yeah, my daughter's having a baby and, it's, I feel like it's a girl. And if it's a girl, her name is going to be Goddess. And I was like, yeah, because my daughter wants that boundary set to like, hey, when these people see this young lady, they're going to address her as what she is.
Yeah.
And then the lady was all like, yeah, only in your household. And I was like,
that's rude.
And, it made me angry. I got out of balance. And when I was walking away, I was like, no, bitch. Excuse my language, but I was like, no, bitch. It would be known everywhere. Yeah. And then I got in my car and I was all like, I had to balance myself. And I was like, Jive, that was a little too abrupt. But, your words manifest and people project things onto you through their words.
Through their own insecurities.
Yes.
Through their own negative energy. And that's what I think, too, is like, this podcast is protected. We are sacred.
This is a safe place.
We are safe. We're not doing nothing but trying to help people. And I feel like the naming your child whatever name you want, first of all, and just having such a good meaning, like people will name them in different languages. And they're like, oh, this means sacred, blah, blah, sacred tree, like in a different language. And no one's going to question that. God forbid you name something that somebody understands and they're already disagreeing.
Yes.
Why can a baby not be named Goddess? Why can't a baby not, what do you want, Ashley? Like, do you want like something that just is very common and that, you want something that's going to hold meaning.
Yes.
So I think that, that's another thing too with setting boundaries is like, a lot of people are going to cross those boundaries and you have to learn how to
Stay balanced.
stay, yeah, yeah.
Stay balanced within you. Because it's like, I had to, that was just
That's
a
messed
wake up
up.
call for me. I was just all like, okay.
That's
So
messed up.
I noticed today, what I learned today is that boundaries are truly the balance that you have within yourself.
Yeah.
Not enough not to give people a reaction, but a response.
Boundaries are like a
Yeah.
dam that you build up, you know,
Yeah.
and like you're not letting things seep through. And sometimes things might creep through, and that's your job. And you know, it's funny that you mentioned that you getting off balance, because I'm telling you, this week, the past month has been very, very high energy, and not necessarily in a good way, not necessarily in a bad way, just very much high and low energy. And I was at the store the other day, and between clients, and I'm kind of rushing. I just wanted something quick, and this guy and me are like right next to each other, trying to drive down this parking lot, like this like parking lot. And he could go, but I couldn't fit. I have a big old car. He had a little car, so I'm thinking he's gonna go, and he like, and then this person's reversing, so I reverse, so this person go. I almost hit some girl in a shopping cart because this person's reversing, and this guy's mad at me, and he's making these faces and pointing these fingers. I lost my shit. I lost my cool. I was definitely off balance. I was like literally just like cussing him out in my head, like just like, oh my god, like F you, dude, like you made me look like such an idiot, like blah blah blah. But then I literally just regrouped. I'm like, if I can't even keep my cool with a random stranger I'm never gonna see again in my entire life, then how can I keep my cool when somebody pisses me off in my family, or somebody pisses me off that I work with, or somebody, you know? That's a way to practice almost, because there's always going to be bad things. It doesn't matter if you're healed, if you're not healed, if you're a, you know, like super cool, chill person, you're still going to get pissed off sometimes. So it's that idea that you regroup in yourself, talk to yourself. I'm not going to let this affect me. I literally did that. I sat in my car before I even went into the store, and I was crunched on time, and I sat holding my steering wheel. I'm not going to let this affect me. This is stupid to be mad about. Let's go.
And your words created your world.
And I was cool. I was still pissed, but I was cool.
Yeah, you were cool. And so I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think that there's boundaries for physical boundaries, mental boundaries, and spiritual boundaries? Because I'm going to just say it like this. I had my daughter telling me the other day, when she was talking to a customer, this guy was like really in her personal space. Like he was really like all up in her field, and she felt so uncomfortable, and her voice was stifled. You know, she didn't know how to say like, hey, you know,
can you back up off
or
me?
something like that. So do you think that, you know, physical boundaries, mental boundaries, and spiritual boundaries, like how can we align all of that in one?
You know what? I think that to be quite honest and vulnerable, I think that that's where I could use a lot of practice in, is setting those physical boundaries. Like there's this guy at the gym, creeps me out. There's been multiple guys at the gym over the course of the past 3 years that have been freaks and creep me out, and like absolutely like worst of the worst. And this one guy at the gym, you know, always comes up to me, hovering over me. I'm like in the middle of a squat, and this motherfucker's head is like, excuse my language, is literally hovering over me, and I'm like, bro, back up. And I'll literally just ignore him, and that's where I'm strong in, is ignoring. However, that's not necessarily, it's a version of strength, but I wish I would be stronger to speak up and be like, yo, back up, like get away from me. And like he'll ask me silly questions, and then guess what, the other day I go to the gym and I have my guy friend with me, and hat down, don't even look at me. Never talks to me when I'm with somebody else. Only when I'm by myself. That's how I know you're predatory. Because I'm like, you know what? If you're going to come up to me and make me feel uncomfortable when I'm completely alone, every single time I'm alone, but when I'm with somebody else, you don't even give me a head nod or something, that's a red flag. So I think, you know, going forward, I am going to try and practice what I preach a little bit more and set that boundary. Hey, can you like just step 3 steps back? And I think like that's another thing that I do, is like when I set my boundaries, it's important to just get it out there. So whether your delivery is not as strong as maybe it could have been, at least you're practicing and saying it in a joking way.
Yes.
You know, I think that's why you said too, like you didn't want to send that emoji, but you tried delivering it where it wasn't so such a blow.
Yeah, and speak your truth. Even if you're shaky at the knees, speak your truth. And I think a lot of boundaries get violated. Going back to what you were saying, your mom is, so on your
Hovering.
stuff. Yeah, is that as children, we really can't speak up. So our boundaries are set by the people who are actually taking care of us. So
Mhm.
as children, we never even really have boundaries for ourselves. There's an invasion there. We're never really allowed to speak up and use our voices, even towards those our parents, our loved ones. And I think along on my journey, I've learned, since I didn't have those boundaries or that voice when I was a child, and just dealing with a lot of toxic masculinity or predatorial energy, I had to learn how to somewhat be a chameleon within the energy, and knowing how to be that alchemist and actually change the energy field around me. And I
Yeah.
learned how to do that through deep breathing and meditation, and being able to enhance my energetic field. So when I'm approached by someone or someone steps into it, I know how to use my voice, and I know how to maneuver the energy because I understand the energies. Like, I know what the predatorial energy is. I know what just negative energy is. I know
Your body will,
manipulation. Yeah, you
yeah, your
feel it.
body will know when you're not safe.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes we go against our intuition. We go against what our body is telling us. And that's where it's hard for us to set boundaries, because we don't follow our intuition or how we're feeling, because we never had a chance to feel ourselves when we were younger, or just different experiences that we went through, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah, absolutely. You'll know when you're
Yeah.
just uncomfortable in a situation. You're like, even if nothing's happened and it's like in a scary movie and the music starts changing up and it's still not really scary, but some shit's gonna go down.
Yeah, it's
You
going
know it's
down.
coming and you're like, I don't like this. I got to get out of here right now.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people will ignore that, and then something bad will happen to them, whether, or even if it's just like an awkward comment that's made. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're like, I didn't want this. Like, this
Mm-hmm.
is the last thing I wanted. How do I get out of this? Sometimes we could blame ourselves for
Yeah.
not setting those boundaries.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can blame yourself for not being comfortable. However, I think you need to give yourself grace
Yes.
and maybe write down, because we talk about how writing is so. Look at the little kitty cat.
There he is.
I got
knew.
distracted
I
for
was
a
like,
second.
where was he?
We just like have to sit down and understand where we stand. So we have to understand, hey, I like this person. I don't like this person like that. So if this person tries to tell me some stuff, I'm just going to tell them, hey, I don't like you like that. Or with your family, hey, it makes me uncomfortable, when you down talk me like this. That's a boundary also.
Yeah, and you'll get a lot of repercussions from that, or a lot of negative ramifications, like, oh, you're delusional, no, oh no, and it'll seem like you're the delusional one. You're the one that is like, hey, your boundaries are wrong, or oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not really how you feel. I know I get that a lot.
I do too.
And sometimes I had to go in the corner like, am I
the problem?
Am I? No, I'm not the problem.
Not.
Like, I'm listening to my body and my intuition. I'm listening to my soul. What is the best route and the highest route to my soul? And when you feel these certain ways, it's like, don't disregard them. Don't put them off to the side, because then you'll, just like you said, you'll just fall deep in regret. And those are the places and spaces that we don't want to be in. We don't want to feel regret. We don't want to feel resentment of not listening to our intuition and following what our body feels. We don't want to, just feel like that when our boundaries get violated. And sometimes us as women, I find myself like, okay, those boundaries, I didn't even know what boundaries were.
Yeah.
I'm just in this deep, dark depression, and my voice, I can't speak up, and I haven't set boundaries, and I just exhaust myself by giving, being a people pleaser,
being a woman,
and just feeling, and it just really broke me down to the point where it was like, you know what? No, these are my boundaries. This is how I feel. This is my energy. This is my safe space.
You got to protect it.
You have to protect it because people will see your light and they'll
See your kindness.
see it and they'll take it for themselves because they don't have it within themselves. And they'll take it. They'll just take it from you. I call it energy rape.
Oh wow, that's a phrase. I call it when somebody's like that, I call them energy vampire.
Yes.
Because you're sucking the energy out of me. And it's like it's a real thing though. Obviously we both have pretty powerful words to describe people that just steal and steal. I have this girl. This girl drained me, like, and I was only friends with her for so long, not too long. And I always had a chip on my shoulder when she was around. And I never felt, and she was a very nice girl, very nice girl. She would get me gifts. And that's the thing though, is like, I will take a gift and I will let you know I'm grateful for it. However, when you give a gift, it should be out of the kindness of your heart. Yes. It should never have expectations on it.
That's right.
And you should never put that obligation on somebody to reciprocate it in a way that they don't want to reciprocate. So I had done some stuff for this girl, but she was always going above and beyond for me, which I was grateful for. However, it was kind of a red flag for me because I was like, I'm cool with this girl. I don't feel like I could be 100% comfortable with this girl. I don't feel like I could bring her around anybody and that she's going to keep it real. I feel very much like she's trying to, I don't want to say be me because I didn't feel that way. I felt like she was trying to take over the energy in the room. And so time after time, I started reading that energy and I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep you at a distance. Kind of, she would invite herself to things that I was doing. And I'm like, girlfriend, you're not invited. I'll let it be known. You're not invited. And there's no reason that she wasn't invited besides the fact that my soul and my intuition didn't feel comfortable with her around. And sometimes you'll think, and if you even talk about it, I try to not talk super negatively about a bunch of people unless it's with people like my family. And I'll be like, hey, this didn't feel right. Or my best friend. Yeah, I'm like, yo, this girl was kind of weird this moment. But with everybody else, I never, to this day, I've never spoken about how I feel about this girl. And all of a sudden, now, it's been months since I ever even really spoke to her. It's been a long time actually. And all of a sudden, things are coming out of the woodworks oh, she did this to me and now I'm feeling this kind of way. These are her close friends. Oh, she did this to me, so now I'm feeling, and they're telling me because they're kind of people that talk and I just let them talk, but I'm not validating them. I'm not oh yeah, she did this to me. But in my head, it's confirming everything. It's okay, I was right in keeping her at arm's length away. She is the type of girl, to do some shady stuff to multiple people that are her best friends. So, okay, it's noted. And I'm glad I set that boundary within myself, trusted my intuition, and then kept her at a length away from me.
Yeah. And, I think with things like that is that she didn't have inner boundaries set with herself. So she's constantly seeking for external validation. And that's where that people pleasing comes in because you are not validated within yourself. So you find ways to people please and just do this and invite yourself to everything because you want to feel a part of.
And I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm so sorry.
Because you're not whole with yourself. So you fall apart and you're looking for all of these pieces and external forces. And honestly, the only way to actually, find those pieces is just dig within yourself. Set those boundaries within yourself.
Every man I ever brought around, she would either flirt with or get with and wouldn't tell me anything. Wow. And these are my own friends, my own homies. And I would find out through them because they would tell. They were like,
oh yeah, Melissa.
And that's none of my business. I don't really care, but it's just funny to me how every single one I brought around said that and I don't even know. And then on top of that, you're inviting yourself to my stuff. And then the one time that it was just the icing on top for me when I was like, I can't talk to this girl anymore, she looked me dead in the eyes one day. She's drinking. I don't drink. So when people get a little slobby around me, I can notice it right away. And I'm not judging, but it's be careful what you say under the influence.
Yeah. The truth comes out.
The truth comes out. And she's talking to me, this whole night, she's hyping me up, which I love it because I'm the type, I'm the type that I'm going to hype you up.
Right.
I like to make my people feel good around me.
Yes.
I was hyping her up a little bit, but I always felt, and I didn't want to be so fake, so I was keeping it at a bare minimum. Next thing you know, she's like, be honest with me. What do you feel about me? and like really was seeking, and I kept it real. I didn't keep it as real as I should have, but I kept it real. And I said, I feel like you take things too personally. I feel like you make everything, like it has to be about you. And I love you. You're so much fun. You're a great person to keep around. However, I think that, you just need to chill out a little bit. And next thing you know, she just starts going off and off and off and off, not to me, but about people in her life. Blaming. Oh, this, and that. Blaming people I was friends with, trying to make me see them differently. And I was like, I'm over here like, can we just listen to the music that's playing right now? I don't want to talk about this. But it's people like that they will literally suck, like a leech, suck onto your energy.
Yeah.
And you're just like, dude, if I fed into this right now, I would feel so negative. I feel negative just listening to the things that come out of your mouth, you know? And next thing you know, like, I keep her away and I'm hearing it from all different people.
Wow.
So it's just like, sometimes you got to trust how you feel about someone, even if you think you might be tripping, because you probably are not.
Yeah, because you're probably not. And, with the whole energy vampire thing, these people, they don't have an identity for themselves. So they latch on to you to actually be a part of your world and your energy and want to identify with what you're doing and your boundaries. And it's like, no, and they're not accountable for their stuff. So that's why I always say, doing the shadow work, which is, what shadow work is?
Yeah.
Taking a deep dive within yourself to heal your traumas, works well, because then you really start shedding the layers of your existence, and then you really start seeing who you truly are. So you don't have to self-sabotage yourself and just like latch on to other people, because honestly, what we're talking about, not setting boundaries, it's like we've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all seek that external validation, whether we didn't get it from our family members or our loved ones. We always start to figure out that we're just the best. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm valuable. I am the best at what I do. What was I ever seeking? I was seeking for someone to say, yes, Jai, you're good, pat on the back. And it's like, no, pat on the back for yourself, because you deserve it and you've come a long way. And I had to really recognize, like, man, at one point I was an energy vampire, because
we've all been there.
Because I wasn't validated within myself, and I always try to find other things to do, other people to validate me.
Yeah.
And
or even other substances. A lot of people will drink and then they'll become that loose version of themselves, and then they'll feel, oh, hey, okay, I'm fun, I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
You could be fun and cool without that. It's just you're so busy. What are other people thinking? And I think, you said shadow work, and we've talked about this other one before, mirror work. It's so important to connect with who you really are.
Yes.
When I was rewatching our first episode that we had filmed, you get insecurities all the time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, like, I really wonder how we did. Like, I wonder if we even made sense. And I'm going and I'm listening, and we're just dropping bombs of knowledge and bombs of wisdom and bombs of confidence. And I was so proud of myself. And I was like, that's me.
Yes.
That's me. And I'm proud of myself because I took the initiative to do something that made me super uncomfortable, super scared, super nervous, and committed to it. And here I am.
Yes.
And if you live your truth, Jaya's always talking about living your truth. If you live your truth, it means that whatever makes you feel good, you put your effort and your energy towards. And I heard a quote a while back, I hope I don't butcher it, is where your attention goes, your energy flows. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, no, that's how it goes.
And if you just set your sights, on not just the person you want to be, but who you are, it'll really give you that, like, that growth that you want to see. So you don't have to be an energy healer, or not energy healer, an energy vampire.
A healer of energy for yourself.
For yourself.
Start. So, how can we actually start living in our truth? What are some steps to help us live in our truth?
That's a good question. I think that, like what you said, shadow work, a lot of people might not know what that is. It's really sitting down, journaling, it's even trying to remember things from your childhood, either things that you loved, things that you hated, things that could trigger you. Understanding what it is that you are to your core, to the deep, deep levels of you. You know, there's so many versions of us, and a lot of times we don't see what we are, and sometimes it could help even not seeking validation, but maybe going to somebody who knows you better than anybody. Hey, could you just tell me like 3 things that you know, that you would think about me, you know? And it's not necessarily seeking validation, but if you don't know where to start, you're like, oh, they could say, oh, you're funny. Oh, I am funny. You know, you're right. Let me further try and validate myself so I don't have to keep coming around asking random people. If you don't know where to begin, that's where I would begin, you know? However, if you already kind of, I'm creative, go put yourself, pour yourself in some art, pour yourself in some music, you know, like whatever makes you feel good, go stretch your body. Sometimes releasing is a really good way in knowing, okay, I feel good about myself. It's almost a form of meditation, you know?
And those places they're uncomfortable. Being in those places, digging back into your past and those deep, dark places to actually take yourself outside of yourself and view yourself in those places. It's not easy. And along in the journey, you know, that's why few take the path of healing, because it's painful. You know, it's hard for us to sit in those painful moments and go back to those instances. But through the uncomfortable, that's where growth happens. That's where the seed is put, but you know, you're there to go back, take that seed, plant it somewhere else. Well, you're really making a new you. So plant someone else and grow the new version of yourself. Sitting through those uncomfortable experiences, that's where the growth is. And another thing that really helped me along my journey to really living in my truth and finding who I am is I changed my diet.
Oh, wow.
I can't express how much your body is your temple. You know, I always say, Tatiana, when you came in this world by yourself, you leave by yourself. The first thing you do, you take a deep breath in. The last thing you do when you leave this vessel, you take a deep breath out.
Yeah.
And just knowing that you don't take anything with you. The only thing that you have is your body. That is the only thing. So it serves as your temple. And when the temple is pure and clean through diet, to intaking lots of water, and just meditating with your body, this is the only thing that you have. It is your vehicle.
Gotta love it.
When I cleaned my vehicle, let me tell you, oh, it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I had so much, like I did a lot of just crazy things. I hurt a lot of people. I hurt myself along the way, my children, just through my selfish actions, not being aware of who I was, not knowing any boundaries, not setting the correct boundaries that could form my children to have healthy boundaries when they're able to set their own boundaries. Dude, when I went vegan.
Are you vegan?
I'm seasonal.
Okay.
No, my family laughs at me for that. They're like, oh yeah, no, but I eat meat in the winter. I was vegan for about 4 years, and I found my balance to it. And so I only eat meat in the winter. Yeah, and it has helped me to along the way. Now I know a lot of people who have been vegan for like 10 years. That's good. But when you being vegan detox me from the bone down. And in your bones is where you hold the most memories. And we have to just, even you can get a detox kit, anything to just clear your vessel. It clears your mind space. And then you're really like, oh, that's me? Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Oh, that. And it's so raw and uncomfortable to just really just.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's so much easier to drive up to McDonald's and order a McChicken, but I feel you on that. Like, so many people say that, and so many scientists, everybody says, not about dieting. It's not about necessarily eating healthy. It's about eating clean.
Yes.
you know, and when you eat all that processed stuff that's in my pantry right now, hot Cheetos, you know, the candy. I'm a dessert person. I'm a sweets person.
Yeah.
100,000%. However, I stopped eating sweets almost, I want to say, almost 2 weeks ago now, which is a lot for me because I eat them every day.
Yes.
And I feel mentally, physically, my face is clearer. It's clearing up. And I naturally, you know, I take care of my face. I use expensive products on my face. I'm an esthetician, so I know like the skin health. And that's not even enough if you're not eating good and properly hydrating your body.
Yes.
And I think above all, hydration, you know, we literally, like, when you are hydrating, every single cell in your body takes water, you know, all your organs are using water to perform their functions. And if you're not able to process, your kidneys aren't able to work, you know, everything is so important through hydration.
Yes.
So, and we are what, 70% water, you know? If I know people that don't even drink a water bottle a day, but they'll drink a whole liter of Coke, you know? And it's so important to, when you're on your healing journey, if you can control what goes in your body, you can control what goes on in your body.
Yes, absolutely. If you can control what you're consuming, it won't consume you. Only consume things that are going to consume and enlighten your life to become the best version of yourself. Because a lot of us are walking, I can even admit it, I bleed coffee. I bleed coffee, and, you know, a lot of us are walking, but there's, you know, I've learned how to maintain a balance. It's all about moderation in what you do. And I'm not talking about moderate yourself if you're doing substances and drugs. Like, no, there's no moderation in that.
Yeah.
But moderation is key to setting boundaries. You have to be moderate into what you're consuming, or else it'll consume you.
And I feel like you could feel more worthy almost with the self-discipline that you show. I've noticed I'm an extremely disciplined person in a lot of ways. I eat not the best, not gonna lie. I don't eat the best. However, I do balance myself. So I might eat bad for like a few weeks or a couple weeks, and then I'll go clean, you know? And it's not about being perfect. And it's not, oh my God, if I messed up this one time, you know, I might as well just eat a whole box of donuts. It's about having that self-discipline. And I think when you feel like you're in control, it'll make you braver to set boundaries. You know, when you feel like you could set a boundary within yourself, hey, I'm not going to eat this right now. I'm going to choose something a little bit healthier for my body. Then you can also set a boundary with, you know, okay, this experience is unhealthy for me. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to set a boundary right there with this person because they need to know how to come at me correct.
And when your gut is clear, you can hear.
Like
that's how
a lot of people say that your gut, you know, the way that it looks like is like an unraveled brain. Is that what you told me?
I think
somebody told me that, and I never forgot it. I think it was you. I can't even explain to you guys like the amount of knowledge that Jai has like just enriched my life with, because like I'm strong in certain aspects, but she's strong in other aspects as well. And we both, I feel like, just share the same message that we need to take power over ourselves.
Absolutely. You know? Thank you. I appreciate your words.
Always.
They mean a lot to me. And, you know, we just want to be able to bring this knowledge to you guys through our experiences. And we want to be able to set boundaries within our life today, because time goes by so fast. You'll look up and gravity plays a pool. Literally. It play a pool on you. You look up in the mirror and you'll be like, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have set those boundaries. And setting those boundaries are like setting goals for yourself. I think boundaries and goals like really go align with each other, because, you know, you have to be able to set the boundaries to be like, okay, I'm going to sit here. This is what my soul desires. I'm going to set this boundary to get this done. And I'm going to make this happen. And we just want, me and Tati have, Tati?
That works.
Me and Tati have the best, your best interests at heart.
Always.
We want you to thrive. We want you to be uplifted. We want you to feel and be your highest version of yourself, setting those intentions. setting those boundaries. Setting those boundaries.
I feel like for our
Yeah.
visual people, if you still don't even know what a boundary is after listening to this whole thing, I feel like
Go.
a boundary, let's say you have your path to life, okay? And let's say it's just like this, like a long path to life.
Mhm.
And in the way, there's going to be obstacles. And you can minimize those obstacles by setting a boundary. You're literally blocking off possible bad instances, possible bad experiences, bad interactions, you know, somebody that you have, you know, when you meet somebody and they really mess you up and you're like, I wish I never met that person.
Yes.
A boundary could be that wish, you know?
Yeah.
So if you got a straight path to where you're at and where you want to go,
Yes.
and all these things are trying to get in your way, set that boundary.
Set that boundary.
Set that boundary and
Set
don't let them in. So I just think that, you know, a part of being your best self, taking ownership, you know, all of this stuff is by being so honest with yourself about what you want and what you don't want.
Yes.
And by not allowing that, or you know how you like fight with somebody and then 5 seconds later you're like, oh man, I should have said this.
Yeah.
Or man, why did I not say this? A boundary is realizing before you even react to a situation, realizing what it is that you want. That way you don't have to have that regret.
Absolutely.
You could be like, okay, I wish I would have said, you know, don't ever talk to me that way. And then you say that to that person's face. And then you don't got to wish anymore. You actually put it in action. You're going to be scared.
Yeah.
You're going to be uncomfortable.
That voice is going to shake.
You're going to shake. But
Yeah.
it's about telling yourself, controlling what actions you take, and eating healthy. You're controlling your actions. Manifesting, you're controlling your actions. Everything's a decision. When you decide, body, I want you to say this to that person. You say it. Your mind is speaking to your body. Your brain is telling your mouth to speak these words. At the end of the day, that's what it is.
It is. It is. And we want to make sure that we align our hearts and our mind so that we can speak our truth. And we can continue to set these healthy boundaries and dish out just throw away the negative.
The
boundaries.
negative.
Yeah.
Negative will always be there.
Yeah.
It's about the balance in life. You got to take it out, you know?
It is.
And I just think that it's not about being a people pleaser. It's not about being the nicest person in the room. It's not about being, you know, the prettiest person in the room, being the most couth person. It's about being real with yourself, being comfortable with yourself, and being respectful. I think there's a difference between being respectful and being like a people pleaser.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And you have to respect yourself. And then when you respect yourself, everything else just falls into place. I'll tell you. And those boundaries create themselves because you're firm in your truth.
Yes.
You're firm in your truth. So I think we're gonna leave it.
I think we're good.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're good. I feel like that's our point, you guys. And
yes.
you know, I'm sure in future episodes we'll touch back to how important it really is to have these boundaries.
Yes, because everything that we speak in our episodes, it all forms down to one thing, and that is loving yourself, staying true to thyself, so you can make it through. You just make it through to the goals and the aspirations that you want to achieve. And you got to love yourself.
Yeah.
You got to love yourself. And big thing, choice. You have the choice to choose.
You do.
You. Right here in this moment, you have the choice. You are not obligated to anybody else. You are not obligated to fulfill anybody else's goals. You are not obligated to give anybody anything. The only thing that you are obligated to do is come into union with yourself, love yourself, find your truth, and you do what you do to make you happy and to bring you joy, because it's a reflection of your outer reality. Everything else will fall into place if you just love and stand in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
So I'm Jai, always staying fly.
And I'm Tatiana, and that's it. We're ready.
Pretty girls don't speak.
Pretty girls don't speak. Thank you guys for watching. I'm so happy.